Welcome to Healthy with Chelsea. This will be a Hatha yoga class, great for beginners or if you're just desiring a fairly gentle class. We will be lying on the back, on the tummy, sitting on the hands and knees, standing up, but feel free to adapt to anything that you need to. Perhaps if there's no comfortable seated position, you can use a chair for those exercises. You are joining at your own risk, but as I said, this will be a pretty gentle class. Start lying down on the back if that works for you. You can also feel free to put on some relaxing music if you like. If it's comfortable, have the legs out long, the arms a little bit away from the body with the palms to the ceiling. You're welcome to close your eyes if you want to, and begin to focus on breathing. In and out through the nose if possible. With each inhale, allow the rib cage to expand three-dimensionally, the belly to rise, and on the exhales, relaxing the body further into the floor, and if you like, gently squeezing the belly button down toward the spine, connecting into the abdominals, and helping to empty out more air to create more room for your next inhale, gradually lengthening out the breath. We'll continue to breathe long and deep. We'll bring the arms up above the head on the floor if that's comfortable for you. Inhale to reach the right arm and right leg away from each other along the floor, and exhale to relax. Inhale to reach the left arm and left leg away from each other along the floor, and exhale to relax. Moving at your own pace with the breath, let the movement follow the pace of the breath. If your arms don't rest on the floor above the head, then instead of relaxing with it up there, you can bend it in toward the body and then stretch it up again when you're reaching. We're not trying to lift our legs or arms off the floor if the arms do rest above the head. Lengthening the spine, energy out the fingers, energy out the toes. And then bring the arms back down. Bend the knees with the feet on the mat, or maybe even on the floor outside of the mat. We'll have our feet fairly wide. And then gently taking the knees side to side. The lower back is gently twisting. One hip is coming off the floor a little bit, but we're not forcing it up. And you can inhale through the center, exhale to each side. Movement following the pace of the breath. If you feel like you want a little bit more opening in the front of the hip here, as you come down to the side, press forward with the glute on the leg that's farther back. Bring the knees back to center. Bring the knees in toward the chest with the legs just relaxed in, and bend the elbows, upper arms still relaxed on the floor, circling the wrists and ankles. Change the direction of the circle. Roll onto the right side of the body and press yourself up to find a comfortable seated position. So it could be cross-legged. You could sit on a yoga block or pillows or whatever you have, and or have those items under one or both knees. Or sit a different way that's better for you. Again, this could be in a chair if there's nothing on the floor that's comfortable for you. We want to find a position where the lower body feels grounded down, the top of the head can reach up toward the ceiling, long spine, Shoulder blades connected into the back. And we'll gently circle the head and neck. Exhaling when the chin is down. Inhaling across or gently back from one side to the other. Again, allow your movement to follow the pace of your breath. If you're noticing crunching here, back off a little bit, slow it down. And gently change the direction of the circle. Bring the head back to center. Arms reaching out to the side. Bend at the waist, bringing one hand down to the floor, or if you're in a chair, it could hold the chair or just reach down. Inhale, reach out to the side. Exhale, opening at the waist. Here, rather than feeling like we're crunching down on one side, let's try to feel like we're going up and over a big yoga ball. Inhale through the center, exhale to the side. Last time, come back to center. Bring the opposite hand to knee and the other hand behind the back, looking back over the shoulder if that's all right on the neck, twisting from the waist up. Inhale through the center, exhale to twist the other way. Now the reason I'm not holding these positions at the beginning of the class is that holding the static stretches at the beginning could potentially cause injury because we're not warmed up yet. So we're doing dynamic movement to warm up. And come back to center and come onto the hands and knees. If the hands and knees position isn't comfortable for you, if it's the wrists bothering you, you could try making fists instead, or roll up the front of the mat with your palms on, fingers off. If it's still bothering you and you happen to have dumbbells, they need to be high enough that your hand can fit under to hold them, but you could have your hands on dumbbells, on weights. We want our wrists under our shoulders, spreading the fingers out if you're not using an accommodation here. Try not to lock out the elbows, just soften them the tiniest bit. Try not to sink down in between the shoulder blades. Knees under the hips, shoulders over the wrists. A lot of the time we tend to put our weight back a little bit, so keep it over. And let's go. Inhale, tailbone and head up, rib cage down. Exhale, relax the head and back of the neck, tuck the tailbone, scoop the low abdominals in, press the rib cage up to the ceiling, cat-cow. Inhale, arch the back, exhale, round. One more time. Then come back to a fairly straight spine, neutral spine. Our goal is to keep our spine stable and not arch the back or the ribs fall down or fall down between the shoulders. We'll start with just taking one arm out. Inhale out to the right fingertips. Exhale, lift it. If you can, inhale and exhale to hold it there. Inhale, fingertips, exhale, pull it in, alternating sides. Pulling the abdominals into the spine to keep it stable. Then we're gonna do the same thing with the legs. If you're able to, bring them right together so that the one staying down is closer to the center. Inhale to straighten the right knee. Try not to make any adjustment here in the hips. Exhale to lift from the glutes and hamstrings, not from arching the back. Inhale and exhale to hold if possible. Inhale to the top of the foot. Exhale, bend the knee, and alternating sides. Pull the abdominals into the spine. Try not to sink down in between the shoulder blades. Try not to lock out the elbows. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to lift. Optional to inhale and exhale to hold. Inhale, top of the foot. Exhale, bend the knee. Opposite arm and leg together. If that's too much, just do an arm and or a leg alternating sides, alternating between arms and legs. Inhale, fingers and toes. Exhale, lift. Inhale and exhale, hold, reaching out the fingers and toes. And back down to the fingers and toes and come back in. Moving inside our shoulder and hip socket without changing anything in the spine and the pelvis. We want to try to have our head and neck in line with the rest of the spine so we're not looking up or down. Last time. A little bit of space between the legs, tuck the toes, hips up, step farther back to downward dog. Here we're trying to open the armpit area without popping the rib cage forward and have our heels reaching for the mat, not touching, but we're not trying to lift them away from the mat either. Finding my mat is too slippery, let's try the floor. And optional to walk through the feet, which is coming onto the ball of one foot, alternating sides. Walking the feet in toward the hands, shifting your weight onto your feet. If that doesn't work for you, you can make your way there a different way. We're coming up to standing. If you're able to get into this forward fold position, we're gonna roll up through the spine. We have our neck, head, and shoulders relaxed. We're not holding our head up with the back of the neck. And we're gonna initiate with the low abdominals, scooping in toward the spine, trying to go one vertebrae at a time from the bottom of the spine up to the top slowly. Great, feel free to get some water at this point if you would like to. And then let's try spreading out the toes. If possible, lifting the big toes up and down, trying to keep the other four toes down. If they won't do that at all, you could bend over and hold them down, or sitting in a chair to hold them down. Or if those don't work for you, just lift all the toes up and down if that works. Then we'll try big toes down, other four toes lifting up and down. This foot exercise is to help us connect into the floor, to help us with our balancing. Okay, good. Standing near the front of your mat, taking the right foot back to warrior one. So it's up to you how hard this is by how far apart your feet are front to back. Side to side, about hip width apart, so we're not standing on a tightrope here. The back foot around a 45-degree angle, the front knee on top of the ankle. Going forward might hurt that knee, and being up here, you're just not really getting any work in that front leg. Hips square forward, arms up if that's okay for you. Really reaching out the fingers, but try not to shrug the shoulders. Push the feet away from each other, front to back. Breathing deeply through the nose. Rest your arms. We're gonna try to find our balance on the left foot, bringing the right foot to hover beside it. Try to use the lower abdominals to lift the knee up. You can just hold it there with the knee bent. You could hold under your thigh with your hands around your knee. And try to keep the hip in the socket so we're not hiking it up to the side. Try not to round forward with the spine or the shoulders to hold on, so just don't hold on if that's what's happening. And let that go. You can stay in the same spot on your mat. I'm just gonna go from the other side, so I'm open to you. Left foot back. Push the feet apart, front knee over ankle, hips square forward, reaching up, energy out the top of the head, out the feet down into the floor and pushing out. Deep breathing through the nose. And rest the arms. Come up to find your balance. Bringing the left knee up when you can. And hold on to it or not, however you had it on the first side if possible. And let that go. Let's go with the feet right together if you're able to. Feel like you're squeezing the legs together, glutes engaged. And then interlacing the fingers, except the index fingers pointing up. Now I'm a bit too tall for my ceiling to do that, so you're gonna have your arms up straight with that finger if you have the space. Otherwise, just go like that, or you could go hands behind the head if your ceiling is even lower than mine. And we bend at the waist, a little bit more intense than the one when we were sitting. Inhale, bend, exhale, pull up to the center. One more each side. And then we're going to come into a back bend here. Try not to push your hips forward, but just from the sternum lifting toward the ceiling and then come back up to where you were. You might feel a little bit of work in the upper abdominals. One more. Rest the arms. Then we'll do a twist standing. Sitting, it's a little easier keeping the hips anchored. So here we might be tempted to twist the hips, but that's getting into torquing the knees and ankles a lot of the time. Might not feel great. Our feet are gonna be about shoulder width apart. Keep the knees a little bit bent and really try to keep your hips square forward. And just twist from the waist up using the oblique muscles. And then our arms are gonna be really loose, pushing one hand along the other arm, alternating sides. So as you get the hang of that, the arms can really swing, looking back over the straight arm, but not letting the hips twist. If you're okay with a faster breath, inhale through the center, exhale to twist to each side. And come back to center, rest the arms. Standing with the feet under the hips. Inhale to reach up. There could be a little bit of a back bend here. That doesn't have to be. Exhale, hinging forward. So we try to keep our back straight for as long as we can. Then relax it over. Your knees can be a little bit bent. Then come back to a straight back to come back up to standing. Inhale on the way up. Exhale, dive. When you're coming up, see if you can find some action in the back of the thighs, the hamstrings, and engage the glutes when you're all the way up. Next time the body is up, you can stay up with the body and rest the arms down. Let's come to balance in tree pose. Really spread the toes out on the side you're standing on. Avoid sinking into the hip. If you need to, you can come to a wall, but I would recommend trying to get your balance going with other things, like putting your foot back down is better than holding on. So we're really just working on the balance for this one. You could keep your toes down the whole time if you need to, or just keep the foot low so that it's easier to put it down, or you can bring it up above the knee. We won't put it right on the knee, so on the calf or the thigh or toes down. And then pressing the palms together if you're able to. If you find your balance here, you can also grow branches of the tree, reaching up and open. It's normal to feel lots of little adjustments in the foot and ankle. Try to feel like there's roots coming out of the foot connecting you down, and energy out the top of the head, and fingers if they're reaching up. If your arms are up, bring the hands back together and down and release the foot. And we'll try it on the other side. So spreading out the toes, the core, the solid hip, not sinking into it, can be helpful. Choosing your option with where you're putting your foot on your leg. Push the palms together or bring them up and open. Focusing on a spot that's not moving with the eyes, that's straight ahead of you. Breathing. Energy down out the foot, up out the top of the head and the fingers. And hands back together and down, and release the foot. Feel free to get some water. When you're finished, we'll stand with the feet under the hips to roll back down through the spine. Starting with the head, relax the neck, the shoulders, the arms are dangling. You can soften the knees a little bit or bend them a bit more if needed. Once you're down all the way, check that you don't start to hold your head up with the back of the neck again. If you like, you can take one or both hands to the back of the head and give it a gentle push forward and then let it nod. If you like, you can hold on to your elbows with opposite hands and sway side to side. And then we'll bring the hands to the mat and the right leg back as far as you can with the toes tucked under into a lunge. Once you're as far down as you can go with the hips, we want that to also be where our front knee is over the ankle, and then bring the back knee down to the mat and the top of the back foot down to the floor or mat. And you can keep your hands down. You can have your hands on your front knee or reaching up or bending away from the back leg. You'll get a little bit more of a stretch in those hip flexors. Breathing deeply. And then with the hands to the floor, or blocks if you have them, or books or something, shift the weight back, bending the back leg more, straightening out the front leg. Try not to totally lock out the knee and push down hard. It can be slightly bent. Flexing the foot will make it a bit more intense. Pointing it will make it a little bit less intense. And we're stretching the hamstring here. Bring both hands to the inside of the front leg. Bring the front leg to the back. Walk the hands over the other way to the left. Right leg around to the front. One hand on each side. And tuck the back toes, the left ones, to come up into the lunge as wide as you can, front to back, front knee over ankle. Then bring the back knee down, the top of the back foot down, and choose the option that you had with your arms for the first side if it works on this side. Deep breathing through the nose. And then hands down to the mat or blocks or something that you have available. Bend the back leg more, straighten out the front leg without pushing down into the back of the knee, and choosing to flex or point the foot for more or less intensity. And then bring both hands to the inside of the leg to bring the front leg to the back. Make your way down onto the tummy. Hands under the shoulders with the elbows bent. They're close to the sides of the body but up off the floor. Start with the forehead on the mat. Tuck your tailbone under with your glutes engaged. Keep the inner thighs working to keep the legs together or as close as you can. And even pulling the low abdominals into the spine here. We're trying to stabilize our lower back. And then coming up with the head into the neck, into the upper back. The arms can help to come to cobra. And you can go up and down or hold it or try a little bit of both. If you're going up and down, maybe you're finding a little bit more height each time. Let's try not to crane the neck back too far. Let's feel like we initiate with energy out the top of the head, and then it's a gradual arching rather than the head going super far back. And rest. We'll come to a quad stretch. For your head, you can turn it to the side. Maybe you have one hand under it. Maybe the forehead down, maybe a hand under it. We're bending one leg to find the foot if possible with the hand on the same side. If you can't reach that, if you have a yoga strap
or a band that's preferably not too stretchy, or a towel, pair of pants, sweater, whatever's close by. Put it around the ankle and then hold on to that. If you have long pants, you might be able to hold those. If you have socks, you might hold those. Whatever you're holding on to, try to keep the front of the hip on the floor with the glute engaged to help with that. And your foot on top of your thigh, not out to the side, and your legs close together. And breathing. And gently letting it go. If you have your head turned to the side, you can turn it to the other side, finding your other foot. Foot on top of the thigh, tuck the tailbone with the glutes engaged, front of the hips on the mat, legs close together. Letting that go. Hands under the shoulders to press up to the hands and knees. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to come into threading the needle. Right arm through the space on the left, coming down to the right shoulder and right side of the head. And your left hand can stay where it is. Come to your lower back or reach up to the ceiling. If that doesn't work for you, you could just do a little shoulder stretch here, pulling it across the body with the other arm. If your arm is up in the air, bring it back down to come back to all fours. Left arm through, left side of the head down, right hand can stay down, lower back or reach up, or shoulder stretch like this instead. If your hand is up, bring it back to the floor to come back up to all fours. And let's come onto the back. If you need to put on more clothing, socks, blanket, whatever you want for relaxation, we'll be lying down on the back or in a different position if you need to. If you can, legs out long, arms a bit away from the body with the palms up. Just let the feet flop open if that's what happens naturally, and closing the eyes and bringing the breath back to a natural pace so you're not trying to lengthen it out anymore. Relax the forehead, the jaw, the tongue, throat and neck, shoulders, upper arms, elbows, lower arms and hands and fingers melting into the floor. Chest relaxing open, rib cage, belly, hips, and moving down the upper legs all the way around, and the knees and the lower legs all the way around, and the ankles, feet, and toes are warm and relaxed, melting into the floor. And we'll just lie here in silence, or if you have music on, for a moment. And you can stay here longer if you want to, or if you're ready, you can start to move however you want to, perhaps wiggling fingers and toes, maybe circling wrists and ankles, maybe rolling the head from side to side, maybe stretching out like you're waking up, or hugging your knees into your chest. Maybe rocking side to side there, or anything else that feels good for you. And then with the right arm above the head on the floor and the knees bent, we'll roll onto the right side of the body, resting the head on the arm, left palm down in front of the body. And pressing yourself up to find your comfortable seated position. You can keep your eyes closed for another moment here. Lower body grounded down, tall spine, energy out the crown of the head, shoulder blades connected into the back, rubbing the palms of the hands together. Bringing the thumbs to the sternum. And I'll close our practice today with one long chant of Om if you wish to join in. Inhale. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.